I think both City and PSG had to get the mentality right to get through this hurdle, really, because they've both struggled with latter stages of European competition. It is just the mentality of being at that level. And City showed that they've passed that test brilliantly. Their players have obviously learned from their experiences, but PSG, it's the same story. It's the same PSG we've seen come undone in previous seasons in the Champions League. And like you said, Dave, there was an air of inevitability that Di Maria got sent off or someone got sent off because they just lost their heads completely. And that begs the question, really, where does that leave PSG now? I mean, Neymar has just signed a new contract, hasn't he, till 2025. So he's sticking around. But they've got players who I don't think many teams could afford. Mbappe, unless someone buys him out for a massive fee, is still going to be there. Can they actually shake off that poor mentality, that semi-final block that they've got? Even the final, when they got to it, they didn't look like they were up for it particularly. They looked outclassed, outthought, out-tacticked. So where does that leave them, Miles? Is PSG still going to be a European superpower for the next few years? Or can you see their squad needing a complete refresh for that to happen?
Both, because it will happen, I think. I look at that squad there and it still seems so top-heavy. Yeah. Marquinhos and Kimpembe are very good centre-backs. But when you looked at the full-backs that PSG had to pick from, Florenzi's out on loan from Roma, and I like him, but he's not going to win the Champions League for you. And if you look at how modern football has developed, fullback has become one of the most important positions there is. And they really lack depth there. Keylor Navas is fantastic, but then you look at their midfield. I love Marco Verratti. I think he's a fantastic player. But around him, they've got Idrissa Gueye, who, does a job, is efficient, but he's not a world beater. He's not the kind of caliber of a holding midfielder of someone like N'Golo Kante. Or even Fernandinho, who was amazing in that game as well, which at 36 is incredible. They don't have De Bruyne in their midfield. So you've got this wealth of attacking options, but you're relying on them creating everything for themselves, really. Paredes is not really an efficient footballer. He's just a dog in midfield, it feels like. He runs around snapping at people with a load of energy, but doing what? You got someone like Draxler that barely plays and his confidence has fallen off. So they definitely need investment in essential positions rather than glamour positions, which how many times have we had that conversation about PSG?
Well, you're right. I think they're just lacking a lot of balance, aren't they? Like you said, I mean, you looked at the contrast to Man City's team. Every signing has been made, albeit with a pretty premium price tag, but with a position and a role in mind. And you can see PSG's spending plans for the last 10 years laid out there. There wasn't a spending plan. It was a transfer first policy. They wanted the name before the role to be filled. And that was kind of exposed quite brutally, really.
They will spend big this summer, though, I think. They're one of the only clubs who can afford to. And it looks like they're not even going to win the French league this year. So they'll probably go out. They'll bring in someone like Camavinga from Rennes and have like the future sort of solidified. Maybe bring in a couple of fullbacks to cover that, because Wan-Bernat and Florenzi probably won't be starting games next season. I'm not sure who, but there's still enough of a pool. They still got to the semi-final, so it's not the biggest failure ever. And a lot of people would have had City as the favourites going into this tournament. They knocked out Bayern. So I don't think it's a case of all their bottle jobs again. They got to the final last year. They beat Bayern this year. Man City just outclassed them. And if Mbappe plays, maybe it's a different game in that second leg. Who knows?
Well, it's similar to the Lewandowski situation for the Bayern tie. If he was in the Bayern team for both those legs, I've no doubt Bayern would have been through to the next round. So, kind of a few what ifs for PSG once again.